friends, and welcome back. Well, I just uploaded a walkthrough of a little oracle deck that I created, only 36 cards, and this deck here, which I'm about to show you, is the same, 36, and I very intentionally placed an image on the back that is in keeping with the other. So in other words, if I wish to keep them separate, I may be working in a group setting and I want a number of different decks for people to draw a card from, I can do so. But if I decide to blend them and shuffle them together, I think it'll still work. Another reason why I didn't blend these two together in the beginning is because I was actually going to use some of my, I was going to create a small deck with my own images. I have a number of them set aside to do so, but I thought rather than going out around and about town seeking images that would suit this oracle deck, what about just doing it the other way around? And I'd rather find myself over a longer period of time collecting some favorites that I've taken and including them in a deck. So the answer was clear. So down the track, I possibly will make that deck just with my own images. We'll see how things turn out. But in the meantime, I'd love to show you these cards. And so what I'll do is just pause for a moment and I'll flip them over. Okay, here we go. So as I mentioned in my earlier video, these decks are made up of images that either inspired me by complete accident as I stumbled upon an image that I wasn't looking for and thought, oh, that would work really well with this particular prompt. Or I went searching specifically for something because I had something in mind. And between the two, it was just a very enjoyable exercise. So here we go. I include this card for more than one reason. It's not simply for people who would describe themselves as disorganized on a daily basis. It is also for people who are organized and, like myself, can find themselves falling into a little bit of a funk every now and then. And I will find myself just periodically in a cycle of procrastination, I guess you could call it. I know I need to get these things done. I know I'll feel so good when I tick the box, but I just don't do it. So like selling decks, I was telling you in my earlier videos, selling decks, I knew they needed to go. I knew I would not regret selling them or moving them on, but they sat in that cupboard for quite some months. And as much as it annoyed me, I didn't do anything about it. So this is a really great prompt for people who are typically disorganized, and for others who just find themselves in a little bit of a funk. Secrets. I just think this is adorable, this image. I was going to do a card called Comparison, and when I came across this image, I thought, oh wow, 4 delightful bottles. I used to collect those little coloured bottles. But anyway, I just thought, instead of just putting comparison, what about why compare? Because you're all beautiful in your own way. Focused or fixated. I think this is the most incredible image, and I have to be honest, this is the one image that I am not sure where I got it from. I had it saved on my laptop, so it's not necessarily from Unsplash, but it may be. I hope I can remember one day. I didn't want it to simply be, oh, a couple, a romance will ensue, that kind of thing. But the two hands are coming together and they're, the fingers are intertwined. It's a good fit, right? Rather than just being about people and relationship, it can be, but it may be about a job. It may be about a vehicle you need to buy that's going to suit your family so much better than the sports car that you own, that kind of thing. Anything. It just means whatever you are asking about, yes, it's a good fit. Increase your personal options. Whoops, did I just knock the camera? Pardon. Increase your personal options rather than your personal possessions. Don't lose your cool. To be continued. I think this will be very interesting to see this come up in a spread. Love this image. Snap out of it. Find an excuse to celebrate. Very 1970s, these glasses. I love it. Quit your dilly-dallying. So we have a road scene, but obviously the person could go from here to here quite directly, but they choose not. They choose to weave around and maybe avoid, dealing with the subject at hand. It's time to let it all out. So sing it, say it, scream it, whatever you need to do. Speaking of road, in this one we're heading for the hills. So this could mean, oh my God, I have got to run from this situation. This is not good. It's not a scary thing, but it's just saying, no, get out. This is not going to work for you. And or head for the hills just to have a really lovely break and get in touch with nature. Take a road trip. So originally I actually called this card Hit the Road, but I feel like Head the Hills is just a little more user-friendly. Oh, and speaking of which, take a break. So if you drew the two of these, well, you know, right? No two ways about it. This is another image that I just found and I loved, and I changed my mind quite a number of times as to the prompt, but I like this one. Another stunningly beautiful image here. And once again, I really wasn't sure what to do with this card, with this image, but I knew I had to include it. So I came up with this. You're taking this too seriously. No harm was intended. Allow yourself to have a laugh. So it's almost like this is your mindset here, but this is the situation or the intent from the person at hand. And they're two completely different things. And I've been in that situation myself where I've taken things too seriously. Couch potato. I thought that font worked quite well for this prompt. Oh my gosh, is this the cutest little mouse you've ever seen? Look at his markings, it's absolutely beautiful. You may have to wiggle through some tight spaces and investigate further. So this card is about choice. You can view this situation with awe as an opportunity to learn, increase your awareness and free yourself. Or you can remain emotionally entangled and consumed by resentment, defeat, and bitterness. And it looks like an easy choice, doesn't it? But that is not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's extremely difficult to get yourself out of this situation here. The best view comes after the hardest climb. Messy. So this is a very messy situation. And who's continuing to add to the situation? Like, is that you or is that somebody else? Creating more havoc. This one here I love. This is another image that I stumbled upon. I was actually gifted a watermelon tourmaline, a piece that's not quite as bright as that, but it's still extremely beautiful. And a friend bought it for me when she went to Sri Lanka. And I must get it set into a ring. I love it so much because she knows that watermelon tourmaline was my absolute number one. It's just beautiful and you don't see it very often. I should actually show you my little raw piece that I have also. Watermelon tourmaline isn't easy to find, or if you do find it, it's often not very bright. Like this piece is quite extraordinary. So I call this Don't Be So Precious About It. Talk it through. Dance it off. This image is another one that just took my breath away. I called it mixed feelings because you're sitting there looking at this fine specimen. I mean, look at the colours. It's almost surreal. Well, I don't know about you, but I have never seen a cobra with colours like this. Never. So the mixed feelings comes out of the fact that the snake is so stunningly beautiful. I want to go up and touch it. But at the same time, it's a cobra. Maybe not. But wow, absolutely magnificent. Extricate yourself. Never apologize for leaving a person or a situation that is detrimental to your well-being. Your health and happiness matters most. This came out of a real tarot consult situation. If you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down. Not as easy as it sounds. This was the third option. I went with burnout, which is, I guess, a bit predictable, but at the end of the day, I was happy with my decision. I had other plans for this card or for this image earlier on. Create, don't compete. Welcome relief. It's just around the corner. Again, so many things you could put for an image like this. I ended up just putting look out, like remain aware, stay on alert at any time something could... A little bit of a tower moment over, where am I? Over here. Yeah, I changed the prompt a number of times, but I'm happy with look out. This is a good one. Lost in doing. So it's wonderful to be a busy bee, but sometimes you get so lost in your schedule, your goals, your achievements, so much to do, and not taking time out to breathe or visit a friend or, walk in nature, that kind of thing. This one again, I thought of 1,000 different prompts I could put. I love this image. A person holding up a mirror towards the sky. But I just wanted to come up with something a little bit different. So ease off is what I came up with. Static. And lastly, this is one of my favorites. Don't allow other people to should all over you. I'll start again. You don't have to do life like everyone else. Do whatever makes you feel alive. Live life on your terms. Lean into the situation. Don't settle for the shoulds that other people throw at you. And to repeat myself, this also came out of a situation that I have seen on more than one occasion. Just a dialogue between people, and people mean really well. But I have people who I know and love are always saying, you should do this, you should that, you should such and such and such, you should... But they offer their shoulds before asking you the details, the finer details of the situation or how you feel. Maybe you've already tried those shoulds, but they don't even think to ask. So they mean well, but sometimes it's just time to gently address the situation and say, look, I pretty well got it sorted out in my mind, but thanks very much for your insights. So that's it. That is my second deck of 36 cards. Did I tell you the title? I'm not sure that I did. Okay, I knocked the tripod yet again. I am recording this for the second time. For some reason, my camera just dropped out earlier on. So if I'm repeating myself, I'll remove this little segment. But I decided very early on to name this deck Satori. And that is because I wrote this word in my diary, or included it in my journal, should I say, a couple of years ago. And originally when I read about this word, it was stated as a sudden enlightenment or a state of consciousness, which I really loved. So this deck came first. I named it Satori, and then the other one Awaken. But upon reading further, it's a Japanese Buddhist term for awakening as well. Awakening, comprehension, and understanding, from what I read. So I still love that whole concept. So maybe this title will stay, and Awaken for the other deck may go. But further to that, the Zen Buddhist tradition refers to Satori as, and my pronunciation is probably crap, by the way, sorry about that, but it refers to a deep experience of seeing into one's true nature. So I just think the word is very, very meaningful to me. So, I'm going to leave it at that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. I'll move on to the next deck and upload as soon as possible. But thank you so very much for watching. And as I said in my last video, I just hope in some way it may inspire you to create something for yourself. So until next time, much love.